Disney's science fiction and cult classic from the early 1980s gets an updated makeover for the new millennium, and now a father and son reunite in the video game world of Tron. I'm Nick Yakabuchi, this is RealScreenReviews.com, and our next movie review is the big-budget special effects sequel, Tron Legacy. After almost 30 years, this sequel opened around the world on Friday, December 17, 2010, and features regular Jeff Bridges, young CGI Jeff Bridges, Garrett Hedlund, Olivia Wilde, and Bruce Boxleitner. This film comes to us from director Joseph Kosinski, a first-time filmmaker that is also in pre-production to update another Disney classic from decades past, and that would be The Black Hole. This time, the world of Tron is gloriously brought into the 21st century with amazing 3D visuals and stunning special effects, all surrounded by a cat-and-mouse adventure that tries its best to connect the dots between this tale and the original from decades ago. Our tale begins refreshing our memories on the events of 20 years ago when computer entrepreneur and visionary Kevin Flynn disappeared without a trace. His company has evolved into a corporate and global entity working towards the best bottom line instead of the principles set forth by Flynn and his partner Alan Brady. They always envisioned a grid of information incorporated into an all-free information society. Kevin's goal was to cross the digital frontier only in the best interest of mankind and to create an outlet to assist humanity. Now, flash ahead years later with Kevin's son Sam that is not running the company that his dad formed, he is robbing from it. He breaks into and successfully steals the most valuable asset in the entire company only to upload it to the web for nothing. Sam is a daredevil that speeds around town on his Ducati motorcycle when he's not parachuting off of skyscrapers and leads a pretty reckless life until the day Alan tells him about a page he received from his dad's old arcade. Now Sam goes there to investigate the mysterious call, and after just simply pushing some buttons, he ends up in his father's hidden workshop only to be transported into the neon world of the video game Tron. Yes, it actually happens that fast, people. Sam is instantly arrested and detained in this new world, and through a very cool and eye-popping series of events, Sam must fight and struggle to stay alive and well in this futuristic universe. The individuals of Tron are merely programs, and the real people are referred to as users. An isometric algorithm, say that 3 times fast, or an ISO portrayed by Olivia Wilde adds a love interest to Sam as well as assisting him in the eventual reuniting of him and his father Kevin, portrayed by the great Jeff Bridges. Together the 3 must defeat the evil Clue from unleashing the power of the Tron world onto the real world and overthrowing humanity. Well, people, Tron Legacy might be visually stunning in 2 straight hours of eye candy, but it is also the definition of just because it looks good, that doesn't mean that it is good. I have many problems with this outworldly adventure that is so light on story, it's almost anorexic. The fights in this film look less believable than a WWE wrestling match, and the SUV they have looks like they carjacked the Batmobile from the Batcave. I have a question. How do you have any feelings or sympathy for programs and not people? This was like watching Star Wars, minus the story and the characters. Then halfway through, Michael Sheen shows up as a villain named Castor that looks like a mix between Jack Frost and Boy George, and that just can't be a compliment. The filmmakers do throw a kind of basic father-son relationship at you, combined with the same old story of the consequences of your choices and actions. Bridges as the dad really doesn't have much screen time, but makes it up as Clue, who is the film's villain and also in his image. As Kevin Flynn, he is basically playing Jeff Bridges, or at least a good impersonation of the man, and Garrett Hedlund also had very little to do when you subtract all of the characterless action. Once again, Tron Legacy looked amazing, but I think it's so cheesy that in a few years it will be regarded as the Flash Gordon of its generation. This is just campy fun at best, and after rewatching the original Tron, I'm really not surprised because I think that's just an okay movie as well. This film was way too long with characters that didn't have any reason being there because you were essentially just watching a video game being played out for the better part of 2 hours. Filled with hokey dialogue and a plotline that involved getting our heroes to a porthole, this movie failed on almost every level for me. Oh, and this porthole that couldn't be reached or seemed unattainable for so very long was surprisingly just a 2-minute plane ride away at the end of the feature. Just like 2012 or Skyline that were also visual treats, Tron is just a lot to see and not much else. If you're looking for a no-brainer and mindless entertainment, then don't miss this one. But for me, it's only 1 1/2 stars out of 4. And remember, people, I'm not always right, only when it comes to the movies. And thank you for your attention.